What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and Monster Hunter Wilds has been the biggest surprise in this young year thus far. Not that it was a success, mind you. Everyone knew that it was always going to be successful, but the sheer magnitude of its success definitely caught me by surprise.
That's a spicy meatball!
The thing is, the game has sold well for what should be fairly obvious reasons. First of all, the game looks good. It looks fun, catering to the fans of this now enormous IP without all the extra baggage that so much of the rest of the industry has been polluted with. Capcom didn't try to push an agenda or anything like that into it. They didn't embrace controversy that would drive players away, and in fact, if you look at most of the games from the past year who sold the best, games like Monster Hunter or Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2, a lack of shit-lib nonsense would appear to be a pretty common through line. These were simply games and not vehicles for progressive propaganda.
Well, it's about time!
But that isn't stopping the woke folks out there from trying to commandeer Monster Hunter Wilds. As I'm sure we all know by now, the game has struggled with poor scores on Steam, mostly due to the bad optimization problems. But that isn't the only thing that has driven the review score down. The gender identity crowd are very unhappy about not having a pronoun choice in the game, and some of them have been wailing about this fact on Steam. They still labor under the delusion that they are a significant cultural force. This is how they view themselves. But nobody cares about that gender stuff being absent. The game has sold well, and evidence suggests that one of the selling points for games like this is that they don't push crap like that into it. However, this same crowd, this gender identity crowd, are trying desperately to claim the success of Monster Hunter Wilds as their own. This person here posted on X that actually one of the voice actors that works on the game claims to be non-binary or something like that. The post went viral as gamers shredded it to pieces. It must have been pretty depressing for the person who posted this to learn that this is how most people view the incessant bitching and complaining that comes out of folks like this.
Nobody cares.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster 1. But it is insane how many times these people have to be taught the same lesson. They simply won't learn no matter what. And I think that these gender identity folks are struck by how close they came to just flat out winning a few years ago. Prior to Twitter being acquired by Elon Musk, there was no good place for people to voice their opposition to all of this insanity. Every platform was completely aligned against normal, regular people who don't like this sort of thing. Every movie, TV show, news station, video game, book, all of it was pushing against the normals. These people were so close to total victory over the culture that they could almost taste it. And I think that these gender identity clowns are just suffering from denial now. It doesn't matter how many Dragon Age the Veilguards, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice Leagues, or Concord failures that we point to, where the progressive characters in those games are memed into oblivion by people sick and tired of this shit. It doesn't matter. They are still traumatized by the knowledge that total victory was nearly theirs, and their own special form of hell appears to be living in the past, embracing a future that, at least at this point, appears to be out of their reach. Let's read what this jackass wrote on X, though. It says, "So glad to see many posts from right-wing grifters like Grums promoting Monster Hunter Wilds, a game that prominently features a character voiced by non-binary voice actor Casey Mangillo." Now, notice right away what the purpose of this post is. This person is trying desperately to link this hyper-successful game, Monster Hunter Wilds, with the floundering gender identity crap. It is similar to the sinister way in which these activists have wormed their way into so many other properties that we once loved. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Assassin's Creed, except the difference is, rather than these companies telling us themselves what they were up to, this time, this person is trying to make the connection for us. This is essentially trying to claim credit on an ex post facto basis. The idea is basically, look at that, chuds, you're not supposed to like this because an LGBT person worked on it. And it's like, my dude, LGBT people have worked on games before, for literal decades in fact, and it was never a problem. Believe it or not, the geeks and nerds who built the video game community are actually some of the most tolerant and accepting people in existence. After all, many gamers were often bullied and picked on when we were kids, and they turned to video games as a means of escape. So gamers aren't exactly quick to tell people that they can't join the hobby. In fact, it was this accepting nature of gamers which actually provided the opening for these activists to take over. Once people who don't actually give a shit about the hobby saw how much money and prestige there was to be had in the industry, they flooded it, and we let them in. The sad thing is that if anything, this push for progressive politics into gaming in the past decade or so has actually made people who were once tolerant into people who are much less likely to be tolerant because we have seen what our permissiveness has done. But suffice to say, a person who identifies as non-binary, working as a voice actor for one character in a game, whose story has nothing to do at all with gender shit, that stuff is never mentioned in the game at all, but this fact does not make it a woke game. It is not a sign that woke is on the rise or anything like that. People absolutely ripped this post to shreds like it deserved in the replies. But actually, the reply of Grums does a nice job of rebuffing this angle of attack. He wrote, "This is the problem. You've been told over and over that gamers are full of hate for people, and that's why we hate DEI in games. You have been lied to so many times, you literally assume this to be the truth. You don't get it at all. It's never been the point, but we've been tarred and feathered with these lies because you want to cancel us, get us fired, or pushed out of the community. Evil, reprehensible tactics like you are using right now. Gamers don't care. We don't care who you are, where you come from, so long as you stop forcing it on us and trying to make everything and everyone always be about you. We've always been welcoming because we were the outcast geeks, and we understand. You exploited that to get into our groups and then start demanding things change just to cater to you and for us to leave. We do care if you are forcing DEI into games to the detriment of the game or to the beratement of players. DEI often masks as virtue, but is just used as a narrative tool in games to belittle or hate on non-POC like whites and Asians or straight men. We are endlessly lectured about how toxic we are just for existing and how everyone else is so much more superior. The game's infected devolve, most often with stories being filled with cringe dialogue or characters that oddly feel compelled to announce their sexuality for no reason other than to promote some kind of forced representation. Worse yet are the characters who are solely defined by their gonads, and when writers create entire story arcs about it while yelling and screeching to the rest of us about how oppressed you are, that it's our fault, and that we must do something for you. So no, a non-binary voice actor is not some kind of gotcha in Monster Hunter Wilds. Nobody cares so long as DEI didn't make the game worse to pander and propagandize in the story, drain characters of their depth, or lecture and berate us. Nobody cares, you are losing, and these tactics of yours just aren't effective anymore. And that right there, that last line, is the most important takeaway. These people have clearly lost the power they once had. They have failed to infect this game. They want to now on an ex post facto basis because they've seen how successful it is, but that just isn't happening. Normal games sell well. Gender identity shit doesn't, and that's just how it is. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of these people trying to force their cringy shit into Monster Hunter Wilds into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.